Week D workout. B, we are focusing on support. So we're going to think about being grounded today, yes? Some of the things we're going to touch on are the half moon. Week D workout. I think we're going to do some flexibility in the legs today for sure, and maybe even get into so we're going to think about half moon. So that means that later on we're going to talk about the difference between our position of our hips in terms of square to the front versus turned out, and that will also half moon. So that means that later on we're going to talk about the difference between that will also help us with square to the front, which of the hip flexors we're accessing, right? So there's two main hip flexors in each leg. There's your vastus medialis, which is your quadricep, the center one, and it is on the middle. And then there's your psoas, which is slightly inside of that. If you're like doing this with your leg and you put your hand there as a blade between your pelvis and your thigh, you'll feel sort of underneath your hand, you'll feel like bing, 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 bing. And that's vastus medialis and psoas. You're like, what? Where? There we go. So your quadriceps, one of them is your vastus medialis. Quadriceps, there's four in each leg, right? There's a top and a bottom one in the center, and there's a medial one and an external or a lateral one. Four muscles, hence we call them quads. And they all get stretched, but if we're pulling our legs straight back, hopefully we're getting all of them. But if we turn it out, you're going to get the inside one some more, turn it in, and you're going to get the inside one. And they all get the rotation of the hip in relationship to the position of the pelvis again. Thing that we refine over time. So hips squared to the front means that both hips are forward. Sometimes it helps to think about headlamps on your hip bones, right, shining forward. When we're doing high lunge, I'm squared to the front, headlamps are forward. If I'm doing warrior one, everything is to the front except for that back leg is 45 degrees. When I'm doing a warrior two, I'm going to square my hips to the side and try to keep this leg all the way open to the front here. And when we're doing 45 degrees half moon later, we're going to move from basically a square to the front, headlamps forward, warrior three position to open the hips all the way to the side, put on one leg. Yeah, so we'll work through that over time, but I just want to be clear what I mean by square to the front versus hips open forward. So if I'm here this way, my hips are square to my front, and then I will open my hips to the side. And what's happening there is when we're doing warrior one, we're externally rotating the loose leg. When we're opening our hips, we're externally rotating to my front, standing, and then I will open my hips to the side. You can turn both legs out. When we're doing one leg out, and then externally rotating, and that's both legs out. Anyway, when we're opening our hips, we'll come back to that rotating. Let's go ahead. Start on the floor shake for a hot minute. Wake up our spines. Anyway, and quiet our minds. Start on the floor shake for a hot minute. Getting back in touch with our breath. Wake up our spines. Giving yourself a moment to feel your body. Where is it tight today? Where is it loose? Where does it need some loving kindness? Giving yourself a moment to feel your body. And this time with your breath is also time to make a little space for yourself. So ideally, some of the peace that we get from a yoga practice is by making a little space within our consciousness for ourselves. And that does mean putting a little space between us and whatever might be in the room for the moment, unless you're doing that partner yoga practice. So don't worry about them. It's not about competition. That does mean putting a little space between us and whatever might be in the room for the moment. Once you exhale any expectations you might have about your performance. Don't worry about them. It's not about competition. We're just going to be present with who we are today. Exhale any expectations you might have. We're here to witness and accept our practice as it is so that we can devote our full attention to what we're doing without the distraction of judgment. We're here to witness and accept our practice. Go ahead and let those arms come up. as it is,
feeling that nice open space you just made for yourself in your mind, like a big loving bubble.
Without the distraction of judgment.
And exhale those palms down in the front.
Those arms come up. Feeling that nice open space
you just made for yourself in your mind, like a big loving bubbles.
Exhale those palms down.
I get the feeling we're not in my yoga playlist, you guys. I think we might be in cardio.
Watch out.
Go ahead and exhale down to the front. Open up that back.
I think we might be in cardio. Watch out.
Go ahead and exhale down to the front. Inhale, open up that back. Drop those shoulders down. And belly locks, and you're going to reach to the right. Opening up the right side. Inhale up. Drop those shoulders down. Opening up the left side. And belly locks. And follow your breath. You don't have to be exactly in time with me. Instead, follow your exhale. And your own exhale over. Making space for your body.
Follow your breath.
And for your experience to be slightly different.
Instead, follow your own inhale up
And your own exhale over. Making space for your body. And for your experience to be slightly different. Drop those elbows back. Bring your elbows and your palms back, spreading open your chest. And tuck those wings behind you, palms to the floor. Drop those thighs. Press them into the earth. Opening up the hips. If you like, you can leave your hips on the floor if you're not feeling ready for that yet. Deep breath.
Drop those thighs. Press them into the earth.
And exhale, settle it down. Hug the earth. Switch the legs. Float it down. Sway across the legs. Float it down. Exhale down. Sway across. And just rest in the middle here. 3 big breaths, dropping your head onto your hands. Staying there for your own breath cycle. Resting. 3 big breaths, dropping your head onto your hands. Go ahead and roll that body back up. And drop the right arm behind you. Open up that armpit. Jiggle those thighs a little bit. Notice if you are like clenching your thighs up, yeah, to try and hold your body weight up. Soften those hip sockets instead. And think about what your belly's doing, yeah? The actual way that we lift up to sit in this position should be that we're activating our back and our belly to lift the weight of the rib cage forward over the front of the pelvis. So if you feel like you're stuck, what your belly's doing, yeah? The actual way that we lift up to sit in this position should be that we're activating our back and our belly to lift the weight of the rib cage forward over the front of the pelvis. And it's normal to feel like your hip flexors take over again, so just give them a little shake if they feel tight.
You can sit on a little set of towels if you like. Really think about that. Switch arms.
Go ahead and release those arms. And it's normal to feel like your hip flexors take over again, so just give them a little shake if they feel tight. Go ahead and rub your jaw out a little bit. Open that jaw. you are a grinder or a person who holds tension here, like so many of us are, we're gonna do a really weird one, right? I'm gonna open my jaw. I'm gonna take my hand, this little space between my thumb and forefinger, and put it under my lower lip and above my chin. So right in that gap there. We're gonna do a really weird one, right? This looks totally weird. I'm gonna open my jaw down, and then I'm gonna push between my thumb and forefinger in and back with my hand. Under my lower lip. And you should feel the stretch happen right here. Gap there. Where the muscles that close are totally weird. I'm gonna open my jaw down, and then I'm gonna push in and back with my hand. And you should feel the stretch. You might drool, I won't judge. Where the muscles that close. Whew! Feels so good. Okay, hands back. Press up the other side if you want to press up. Start to press your fingers and pointer finger knuckles into the ground as you're into this position. So we're thinking already about supporting through this arm. And dropping it down. Legs are coming together. So we're going to curl down. Pointer finger knuckles poke behind the knees. Big breath in. And tuck that whole torso. Squeeze those thighs together. Stay right there. So we're going to curl down. Poke behind the knees and let go or not. And roll your lower back onto the floor. My shoulders are still up. I'm just going to touch my little toes. But I'm trying to keep my belly concave into the mat while I'm doing it. Yeah? And roll your lower back onto the floor. My shoulders are still up. Can you breathe? You can put your head down, but lift your chest up. Bellies are down. Belly lock in while I'm doing it. Head down, but lift your chest up. Deep breath in. Hollow up. Head, neck, and shoulders are up. Little walk in the air. Deep breath in. And rock it up. Okay. Little walk in the air. We're gonna rock back just to like your middle of your upper back. Maybe to your shoulders, not onto your neck. Yes? Okay. And I want you to feel it between the straight spine. We're going to rock back. Our upper back is to like the curve a lot, but our lower back is going to be tight. So really tuck your pelvis back first. Feel a stretch in your lower back. Hold on. And just rock back and forth a couple times. Notice if you tend to be wobbly as you go. It might be a sign that your strength or your alignment is a little out of balance. Just noticing that. Notice if you tend to be wobbly as you go. It might be a sign that you're. And then this time I want you to come forward and lean your head forward. So I'm going to keep my abs tight and I'm going to lean forward. So I'm going to roll and lean and then roll. Come forward and lean your head forward. Roll and lean. Lean forward. Roll. So I'm going to roll. Lean. One day, maybe not today, but one day, yeah? The trick there is your head is very heavy, so if you get your head past your feet, then you can push your feet underneath yourself. All right, put it front of your mat. One day, maybe not today, but one day, yeah? Find that center again. The trick there is your head is very heavy, so if you get your head past your feet, then you can push your feet underneath yourself. All right, put it front of your mat. And open the heart. Find that center again. And take those palms down and together. And softly forward. Deep breath in. And drop your whole head, neck, and shoulders. Grab the opposite elbow and just hang there today. Soft knees, big breath. Go ahead and let your arms drop and maybe gently walk your knees a little bit. Or walk your neck and shoulders. Grab the opposite elbow and just hang there today. Soft knees, big breath. Let your head be heavy. So if you have glasses, go ahead and let your arms drop. And maybe it's very common when we're wearing glasses. Go ahead and drop your knees. And we're going to step back a right foot. Let your head be heavy. So if you have glasses, it's very common if you wear glasses. Go ahead and drop your knees. To have the sensation that you want to keep your head up so that your glasses don't fall off.
And in case there's some folks I know out there who have been feeling a little dizzy because we're doing a lot of drop the head, glasses, drop the head, come up. So for them, you might want to go ahead and think about keeping a long back in the neck so that your head is on the horizon. For example, if you know that you have vertigo. For most of us, there's a little bit of adjustment from being up in a downward dog. Go ahead and come back up, a little bit of dizziness so that your head, but if it gets like a lot, then you want to just ease off a little bit so you're not dropping all the way upside down. So if that's not the case for you, then do let your head drop when we're upside down, because that's a time for us to release some of that back pressure. Just step back, dropping all the way upside down. So if that's not the case for you, then do let your head drop when we're upside down. And here in our baby cobra or cobra today, I'm going to invite you to, we're on the right side, I'm going to invite you to drop down, swoop up to the right, looking to the right, lifting your core, turning to our baby cobra, and reverse that circle. We're on the right side, I'm going to invite you to drop down, long back, swoop up to the right, looking to the right, lifting your core, reverse that circle. Long back. All right, up to your downward dog, friends. All right, so if you are one of those folks who's having trouble with dizziness, you can keep it in a puppy pose. That means legs are bent, arms are a little bent. We're still pushing back. So we have a lot of weight in those hips, but my gaze can stay up a little bit. Be careful that we're not crunching our shoulders here, everybody. So let's roll our shoulders back. Arms are a little bent. We're still pushing back. We have a lot of weight in those hips. All right, so shoulders feel like they're reaching towards our hips. Be careful that we're not checking your hands, our shoulders apart. Big breath in with me. So everybody bend your legs and rotate those elbows down to puppy pose. And feel that support, that springboard in your thighs. Checking your hands, our shoulder width apart. Big breath in with me. All right, we're going to press forward from puppy to plank and bring it back. Yeah, so go ahead and come back to child's pose before we do this flow and stretch your wrists out. We're going to push back and forth and back and forth. So before you go into it, I'll show it one time, and then we'll do it together after that, all right? So go ahead and come back. I will be pushing back to puppy. Do this flow, keeping my abs really super lifted. We're going to push and forward to back and forth. So before you go into that, go back and forth, and then we'll do it together. Keep those thighs together. Ready? So, everybody coming to downward dog. Or puppy. Everybody join in puppy. And here we go. Plank. And back. And plank. And those thighs together. Ready? And back. That's enough. And plank. And back. And right leg's gonna lift up. And here we go. Plank. And back. And square those hips. And back. And plank. Open. And back. That's enough. And plank. Square them. And right leg's gonna lift. Right thigh underneath yourself. Lift your hips up. Lift your core up to make room to push this down. Open the hips. Shoulders back. Square them. Tuck that. Just the lunge here. Right thigh. Find your thigh underneath yourself. Lift your hips up. Lift your core up to make room to push. And back foot is your springboard, so use that back ankle to step together. Inhaling halfway up. Find your softening down. Inhaling all the way up. Softening hands to your heart, closing your eyes. Inhaling halfway up, softening down. Inhaling all the way up. Softening. Feel where your feet are on the mat. And a nice even weight, left to right, front to back. Another big breath, and when you're ready, open those eyes. Hands come up. Feel where your feet are on the mat. Another big breath, and when you're ready, open those eyes. Hands come up. Forward fold. After your butt, back. Down we go. Stretch. Heads up or down. Make a decision that's purposeful. Big breath in. Forward fold. Soften legs. Left knee goes back. Nice high lift. Take it heads up or down. Make a decision that's purposeful. Big breath. Breathing in your lungs. Soften legs, left knee goes back. Nice, high lift. Take it in. Go lunge.
Stepping back. Chaturanga. Down to the floor. Up and pressing it up. Stepping back. Lift your core. Chaturanga. And press back to child's pose, thighs together. We're gonna slide forward in the center, back, down to the mat. Lift your core. We're gonna take our low head and shoulders up and around to the right. We're gonna slide forward in the center. We're gonna lift that core, down, and take it back to child's pose. We're gonna take our low head and I'm gonna slide together, low back to the front. Right. We come to the center. We're gonna lift that core. Good again. Right. Take it back to child's pose. Center, lift your core. Press down. And I'm gonna slide together, low back to the front. Child's pose. Slide through. Good again. Right. Center, lift your core. Inhale to the right. Press down. Lift your core. Slide through. Press it back. Good. Flip those wrists over. Inhale. Stretch the back of the wrists. Rest your head on the floor. If you can. Good. Flip those wrists over. Stretch the back of the wrists. Go ahead and take your hands down to Sphinx arms. Parallel arms. Rest your head on the floor. So we're going to roll our shoulders back. Come up onto all fours. And we're going to lift. Go ahead and take your hands down to the right leg. And take it down. Roll shoulders back. And lift the other side. Onto all fours. And we're going to lift and take it down. Looking underneath yourself, noticing as you lift that left leg to the side, right? Your hips fall away. So I'm going to face the camera one time and let you watch the position of my hips, right? So when I lift my leg to the side, everything falls away from that leg. To stay flat, I need to take my standing leg and also extend it wide. So there's actually effort in both legs just to stay square. Right? So when I lift my leg to the side, right? Everything falls
the horizon.
away from that leg. So
I'm going to lift
flat. I need
my
to
left leg without bracing on the right.
Extend it wide.
See how I fall away from the leg? So I have to push this leg out as well while it's in contact with the floor to stay square.
So I'm going to push and stay square.
Left leg without bracing on the right.
And then I'm going to open my hips by pushing even. Try and find square and close my leg. And the way to find your way around there is really you got to look underneath yourself, because otherwise your sensation of what's square is probably not accurate for most of us. Yeah? So let's try that. Right, left, one more time, and then we'll move. Here we go. And the way to find your way around there is really you got to look underneath yourself, because otherwise
Open to the side.
sensation of what's square is probably not accurate.
Open the hips.
Most to us. Yeah?
Back
So
to
let's
square
try that. Right,
hips.
left, one more time, and then we'll move.
And put it down. Open to the side. Open both hips. Square hips. Back to square hips. Put it down. And put it down. Open to the side. Open to the side. Both hips. Open both hips. Open to the side. Square hips. And close it up. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Press back. Open to the side. Downward dog.
Left leg reaches back.
Open the hips. Go ahead and tuck your toes.
Press.
Close those hips. Downward dog.
Back to square. Look underneath yourself.
And tuck it through.
Silence.
Close those hips.
Back to square. Look underneath yourself. Back heel's gonna help you
And
shift
tuck it
forward.
through. Extending those legs.
Silence.
Up to flat back. Lifting through your center. Soften
Back
down.
heel's gonna help you shift forward. Feel the squish before you press up. Knees right next to each other. And then drop your hips, pull your belly lock up and in to stack your body on top of those feet. Feel the squish before you press up. Knees right next to each
We
other.
have to
And
move
then drop your hips, pull your belly lock up and in to stack your body on top
Let
of
the
those.
past be done. A little more to
Stand on that right leg. Lift left. Up to the front. Go ahead and take it with your hands. We're going to do a little balance action here. Remember, we were talking about the way that your hips are actually where your balance happens. So I'm going to start with lift left, lifting one leg up with my hands, and then I'm going to do, we're going to do a little balance action of the standing hip. We're talking about the way that your hips, that's what you thought you'd do where your balance happens, right? So I'm going to start with, and you can hold a wall or a chair if you leg up with my hands. And then I'm going to do, switch the other side, knee up, that's what you thought you'd do. Circle those. And you can hold a wall or a chair if you want. Two. Switch the other side. Knee up. Circle those. Good. All right. Take it down in the center. Both knees straight forward. Rock those hips forward and back. Tuck and back. And forward. Good. Okay, right. Holding our core in so we have a nice long vertical pelvis. Go ahead and stand up. Rock those hips. Nice long body. And we're going to squeeze our legs together right here. That's it. Just making sure my pelvis is vertical. So we have a nice long vertical. Squeezing my legs together. Go ahead and stand up. Nice internal adduction. Squeeze our legs together right here. Take that action over. Making sure my pelvis and come back. And my hope is that you're going to really slow down, feel, use a little bit of the resistance of the floor. Internal. And then as you switch onto that leg, you can keep that engagement of the standing legs, internal muscles, and feel how it attaches, it stabilizes your hip into your standing leg when you're on one leg. Right? So if my leg's impulse is to just go whee, right? Because my head wants to counterbalance the leg that's coming off the floor. I use the inner thigh to keep my balance, right? So as I lift up the opposite leg. So I'm going to start wide, right? My head wants to counterbalance vertical hips, the leg that's coming off the floor. Squeeze both legs together with that centering feeling in the thighs. Yes, I actually feel it really close up to the attachment points of my pelvis. So I'm going to slide my foot in, try to keep that inner thigh fired up here. And then lift the leg and see how your hips can stay still. Yes, I actually feel it really close up to the attachment points of my pelvic floor. Good. Slide my foot in. Slow motion. Send it back out. Try to keep that inner thigh, keep that awareness and activation. And then lift the leg in that inner thigh, I hope. Okay. Centering both. Tailbone down. Good. Slide over. Use your inner thigh to drag your pelvis, keeping it horizontal. In that inner thigh, I hope. And then I'm going to lift my hip, or my thigh, not my hip, I'm sorry. Lifting my thigh, and I'm keeping this guy active to drag keep that hip down. Pelvis, keeping it horizontal. Good. All right, let's just flow back and forth. I'm going to lift my hip. Thinking about inner thighs and hips horizontal. Lifting my thigh, and I'm keeping this guy active to keep that hip down. Good. All right, let's just flow back and forth here. Thinking about inner thighs and hips horizontal. Inner thighs. Inner thigh, inner thigh, inner thigh, inner thigh, inner thigh, inner thigh. And push the floor away. Inner thigh still working. And down. Inner thigh. Okay, same idea now, but we're going to take the leg that's floating, find that inner thigh both sides before we switch. Tailbone's long, and I'm going to take my floating leg to the back, still thinking about squeezing my thighs to that center line, and then push the earth away. Find that inner thigh, both sides, switch, and much trickier, right? Floating leg. Feel the squeeze in the inner thighs here. Still thinking about squeezing. Drag to the opposite side. Leg's gonna go behind you. Squeeze that center line, and then support through the standing, right? Feel the squeeze in the inner thighs here. Squeeze and support. Drag to the opposite side. Leg's gonna go behind you. Find that squeeze, that center line. Keep it engaged and draw your leg back. Squeeze and support. Squeeze and support. And across. All right, good. Find that squeeze. Even yourself out. Keep it engaged. Find that squeeze. Draw your leg back. And leg back. And standing leg supports through the ground, pressing into the earth. Good. Even yourself out. Find that squeeze. Good, good, good. Okay, friends. Leg back. For our next segment,
Standing leg supports through the ground.
I want to invite, you know what, you guys, if you want to turn your mat sideways, let's turn our mat sideways. If there's two of you, you can stagger a little bit. So like instead of mat and mat right in front of each other, you can go a little bit to the side and then you'll both be able to see. That's a little bit.
You know what, you guys, if you want to turn your mat sideways, let's turn our mat sideways.
We're going to move our mat.
Let's do a stagger a little bit. So like instead of mat and mat right in front of each other, you can go a little bit to the side and then you'll both be able to see.
Adductor activation. So we're going to move our mouth. Let's do a check-in. Scale of view. So folks who are watching the recording, I'd love to hear, like, did you feel like you were able to keep that tension, that activation in the inner thigh, even as you switched to just one leg? There's our checking question. So folks who are watching the recording, I'd love to hear, like, did you feel like you were able to keep that tension, that activation in the inner thigh, even as you switched to just one leg? Nice. Some answers there. All right. Big breath in.
When you're ready, go ahead and join us. Knees and toes together. Knees are in front of the, not going to pass the ball of the feet, yes? So on this next section, I'm not going to let my knees rock forward. I want the weight in the heels mostly, and I'm going to come down into a squat. Not going to pass the ball for awkward chair. Now when we do awkward chair, often we let our booties go because we're not engaging our core, or we counterbalance forward. That's a lot on the knees, so it shouldn't be either of those things. Thighs together for awkward chair. Now when we do my tailbone back by lifting my core in, counterbalance forward. That weight is maybe 70%. Either of those things in the heels.
Thighs together.
Awkward chair. There's a chair back there somewhere. Where is it? It's over here somewhere. A little bit lower than I think. Somewhere. And weight is maybe 70%. Press it up in the heels. Lovely. Awkward chair. There's a chair back there somewhere. Where is it? It's over here somewhere. Curve and deep. Lower than I think. Somewhere. Go ahead and take your hands down to those knees. We're going to put one fist into the other hand. Yes? So let's say this is your right hand. It's going to hold that fist. I'm going to go into my awkward chair pose. I'm going to lift up my center and spiral from the waist and crease it down some more. Glance at those knees, make sure they're lined up. And left elbow to right knee, spiral and sit. I'm going to lift up my center and spiral from the waist and crease it down some more. Glance at those knees, make sure they're lined up. And left elbow to right knee, spiral and sit. Finding that center again. Right hand's gonna make the gentle fist. Left hand's gonna grab it, pulling my belly up and in. Sit back, looking at those knees, honoring those knees. Weight goes back.
Right hand's gonna
inhale, lengthen the lower spine. Twist through the body. Press the elbow across. Sit back. Keeping that inner thigh honoring activation to help us stay centered. Inhale, lengthen the lower spine. Sitting down. Through the body. Press the elbow across. Keeping that inner thigh. And come on up. Activation to help us stay centered. Good, guys. Sitting down. Slide lefty behind you. Bring your hands down to your hips. Again, thinking about those forward-facing lights. Good, guys. Slide lefty behind you.
I thought my assistant teacher was up, and I was wrong.
All right, extending your arms up. Keeping both hips forward, thinking about that centering feeling through both legs. We're going to tip the pelvis into Warrior 3. Now, when I first learned Warrior 3, my standing leg, butt, and hip on the outside just felt that absolute play. There's a lot there. Tip the pelvis into Warrior 3. Can you soften that knee a little bit?
Now, when I first learned Warrior 3,
lengthening
my
into the
standing leg, butt, and
go ahead and step back.
I just felt it.
Turn it all the way out to the horse riding pose, and we're going to press back with our shoulders.
Soften that knee a little bit and press, lengthening into the
and come down into the middle. Sit down. Tuck your buns underneath
all the way
the
out
front.
to the horse riding pose, and we're going to
press back with our shoulders. And press up, keeping the knees
And
wide
come
open.
down into the middle. Sit down.
Lifting
Tuck
up
your
through
bones
those
underneath to the
hip
front.
bones.
To let
Heel
those
toe,
knee
heel toe
thighs
back
stretch.
in. And we'll turn to the opposite side. Knees wide open.
Flashlights out of your
Hip bones.
And turn a little bit diagonal so you can see better. Flashlights out of your hip bones, right? Straight in a line. We're going to keep our hands on our hips today.
Opposite side.
Slide your other leg back. Realign those hips before you go. Turn a little bit diagonal slow. Shooting the flashlights out of your hip bones, right? Straight in
Hip
a
socket
line.
rotate.
Keep your hands on our hips today. Doesn't matter how far you go forward. What
other
matters
leg
today
back.
is that we're keeping our hips parallel to the ground, right? So our flashlights, our headlamps are slowly getting closer and closer to the bottom.
Hip socket rotate.
Doesn't matter how far you go forward. Totally normal to feel really lopsided, like one side is way easier than the other. So our flashlights, our headlamps, slowly getting closer. And soften the standing leg and push the earth away. Totally normal to feel really lopsided, like one side is way easier than the other. Soften and step back and turn it out to the middle again. Pushing back with your arms. So the weight of my upper body is getting actively pushed down into the knee, thigh area, and I'm opening my stance. Turn it out to the middle again. Pushing back with your arms. The weight of my upper body is getting actively pushed down.
Big breath in.
Knee, thigh area.
Turning it to your left again.
Opening my stance. Step forward this time onto it. Your right leg's going back. Big breath in.
Turning it to your left again.
Step forward this time onto it. Arms swoop around behind you.
Your
Lift
right leg's
those
going
cores. Close the thighs together to square. Soften the standing leg just a little bit. Lift your back thigh up a little bit more. Arms and step back and open. Close the thighs together to square. Heel toe. Just a little bit. Lift your back thigh up.
Inner thighs pull you back together.
Step back and open.
Big breath. Turning to the right side of the room.
You're gonna step forward with your right foot, step onto that. So when I'm stepping onto it, I'm thinking about hips going over the center of my foot. Place it there right away. Thighs are on that center line. Step forward, your right square. The shining headlamps start to tip down towards the floor. Abs are strong. Adductor in the standing leg is helping to keep my hips. Thighs are on that center line. Hips are square. The shining headlamps start to tip down towards the floor. Abs are strong. Arms back. Adductor in the standing leg is helping to keep my hips soft in the knee. Lift back leg. Swan. And step it back. And turn it back. Good, good, good. And step it back. And turn it back. Turning. One motion. We're going to step onto the left. We're reaching our head, radiating our head away from the foot to help you smoothly go into that. Turning. One motion. Three. We're going to take your arms back, lift your heart up, and look forward. Standing leg bends with the back leg. Radiating our head away from the foot to help you smoothly go into back high lunge and twist into that. Take your arms back, lift your heart up, and look forward. Standing leg bends with the back leg. High lunge and twist and take both hands down. Walk your feet around. Parallel legs to the front and drop your head and take both hands down.
Let those thighs open.
Walk your feet around. Parallel legs to the front and drop your head in the middle.
Let those thighs open. Bend and straighten those legs. Bend your legs as much as you need to. Grab the opposite elbow and let your back stretch out. So you're trying to hang there. Go ahead and push the floor away a little bit. Have a little sway. Then big squat to grab the opposite elbow and let your back forward. Inner thighs are pulled together. Press back. So feel your hang there.
Pushing into both feet. Abs are
Have a little sway. Then big squat.
good.
Straight forward.
Bring
Your
it up.
thighs are pulling together.
Push that floor away.
Good, 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 good.
Heel toes back. Pushing into both feet. Abs are
Let the sparkles come out of your head. Woo! That one got me too. Big breath in.
push that floor away.
Good, 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 good.
Turning to the right. Stepping out. The right leg.
Let the sparkles
Already
come out of your
engaging my
head.
center here. And I'm gonna shift onto it. Feel my leg push into the earth as I step onto it, right? So if you feel like you came here and it was like, I don't know. Or if you put your foot down and then move your body. See if you can move with integration right onto that supportive leg. Trusting in that body, right? You're really growing down into the ground.
I don't know. Or if you put your foot down,
Strong core.
then move your body.
Warrior three.
Move with integration right onto that supportive leg.
Arms back.
That body.
You're really
Hard
growing
up.
down into the ground.
Square to center if you lost it.
Strong core.
Front knee bends slightly, back leg lifts a lot. And arms back.
Good.
Hard up.
Drop it down to high lunge. And square hips. Twisted spine revolves it.
Drop it down to high lunge.
And square hips. Twisted spine revolves it. And down we go. Go ahead and put your back knee down now. Let those hips separate. And down we go. Pull back. Go ahead and put your back knee down.
Lifting up in your core. I definitely have my back toe touched here, so I have a little more lift. I'm up on my hands. You could even be up on a brick.
I'm going to lift my back leg. This is the right side for me, so I'm going to lift that side that's bent and cross across the body. So I'm going to spiral and then drop this leg, the long leg. I'm going to rotate that hip down as I reach across and twist.
Lift that side that's bent.
Soften that knee a little bit. It does not need to be all the way straight, and it shouldn't be. It should be a little bit bent.
The long leg.
I'm going to rotate that hip down as I reach across and twist. Soften that knee a little bit. It does not need to be all the way straight, and it shouldn't be. It should be a little bit bent. We're going to turn around to the other low lunge. So now, dropping on the right knee,
Lifting your back leg.
around to the other low lunge. So now, dropping on the right knee, deep low lunge. Lifting up through your core, tucking that back foot so you have something to sit down against. Make sure that heel's going right into its own sit bone, yeah? So we shouldn't feel like we're torquing that knee if the heel is right into the sit bone. I'm going to lengthen through that bent side of the body, rotate from my waist,
Make sure that heel's
bending the straight leg just a little bit and twisting down
feel like
into
we're
it.
torquing that knee.
Letting that hip unfurl, so I'm opening up
that bent side
the
of the
long
body.
legs side of
Rotate
the
from
back
my
as
waist.
I'm twisting. Bending the straight leg just a little bit and twisting down into it. Letting that hip unfurl, so I'm opening up the long legs side of the back. Good, good. All right. Come forward there. Let's come to the center. All right, on our task list today for fun adventures, a bus stop. And I just wanted to clarify, because I was, of course, reading some of your documentation. When I'm saying bus stops, that can really apply to any pose that we're doing.
on our
And I'm kind of just making pause points within the progression of a pose to its full expression. So they're not always perfectly the same, and it's okay if you kind of find somewhere that works for your body and use that as a modification or a
Within the progression of a pose to its full expression.
full expression of a pose. The idea just being that if you're on the bus with your friend and you get into a really good conversation with your friend and you ride the bus past your stop all the way to their stop before you realize like, oh, I'm having so much fun with them, totally missed my house. You both get off the bus, you still have to walk all the way back home. All right, so we want to stop at our bus stop so that we're not making extra work
slightly overdoing it and then having to re-progress through those
Get off the bus.
working where you are solid and feeling challenged but not going beyond that gives us the most productive progression towards the goal. So never feel shy about being solid and feeling challenged but not going beyond that. Big hands, elbows in. We're gonna do, we did crow yesterday, and remember it's always okay to leave your toes on the floor. Maybe I'll take one toe and then the other off in our crow. But we're gonna try and do crow, elbows in. We're gonna do, we did crow yesterday, and remember it's always okay to leave your toes on the floor. Try and do a little crow here. So we're gonna try and do crow. Try and do a little crow here. Can you see my gears working? I'm trying to decide whether we should do straight crow with one leg extended back, or side crow crane, or if we should do the hip to waist version. Can you see my gears working? I'm trying to decide whether we should do straight crow with one leg extended back.
While I'm thinking about this decision, let's do something else.
If we should do
Let's go to our all fours. Yeah.
Roll those shoulders back. Take a moment to re-engage your belly. While I'm thinking about this belly engagement, it's always wearing a baggy shirt. There we go. Those shoulders up, lifting your core in. Take the shoulders back. I'd like you to just slide back. Your right leg. And feel that feeling of shoulders back. And then open it up. Slide back to that low side plank, and try to keep one hip on top of the other. Right leg. Yeah, so this is one of the modifications with side hips. But it's also getting us towards half minute. Slide a hip back, try to open those hips. Roll my shoulder back. But it's also getting us towards half minute. All right, we're gonna do this on both sides a couple times. So here's some roll my shoulder back. Yeah. One tip is that I want my fingertips to still be pointing up relative to my skull. Yeah. All right, we're gonna do this on both sides. I want my shoulders to feel like they're rolled back. Shoulders in. One tip is your bottom leg that's staying on the floor. It can be tucked or pointed. Both are totally valid. I'm gonna slide my toe back in line with this other foot. My shoulders open my hips. And I have to engage my core, otherwise it'll just be wobble wobble. Yeah, so I'm definitely using my toe. From here you can lift the leg if you want. I feel like my arm is not comfortably placed here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of right underneath where my would place myself for all fours position, I feel like my hand a little bit forward of the other one. And that gives me a little more space. Elbows are back, shoulders are back. Now I'm going to slide my right foot back and bump the wall. I'm going to turn my hips one on top of each other. I'm going to turn my shoulders. That gives me a little more shoulder. And now you can see that that hand is just slightly outside of the knee, and that's because of the weight of my butt. So it lets me feel a little bit more flat. Just slightly outside, like maybe a half a hand, and a little bit more forward. So it lets me feel a little bit more flat. So if you have a chair that you want to use to put your hand on for the standing version of this, or if you want to use your brick, you can use either of those things. Where did I hide my brick? Excuse me, Unicorn, may I borrow this? So if you have a chair that you want to use, same idea. This time we're definitely going to tuck our feet. Use your brick. You can use either of those things. I'm going to make some nice parallel legs here, like a downward dog. If I were in downward dog, my arms would probably be here. I'm probably going to put my brick right outside there. Is that true? I'm going to put it in the downward dog spot. All right, I'm going to bend both legs. Now we've been practicing knee and toe alignment. That is very true here. I want this knee and this toe pointing straight at that. I'm going to slide my left leg back. I'm lifting my belly in. I'm going to lift that leg, but it can also stay on the floor. We've been practicing knee and open my hips if I can. You might be like, oh, I wish I'd chosen a chair. So come back down, slide, flip to a vertical brick, get a little more height, or the seat of a chair.
But it can also stay on the floor.
Hips. I'm going to open my hips if I can. You might be like, oh, I wish I'd chosen a chair. So come back down, flip to a vertical brick, get a little more height, or the seat of a chair. And we're going to open those hips and zip up those arms and zip it back down to the floor. Go ahead and press down and back to a child's pose and flip those wrists over. So you're going to rest your wrists while I adjust something that I hear that is not correct in the sound. Go ahead and press down. There we go. All right, then we're going to go for the other side. Coming back up to your downward dog. Start with my feet nice and together because it helps me remember to hold my center line. Shoulders are back, elbows are back, hand to the brick. Extending up, following up in my tummy. Maybe it feels a little far, I might bring it in a little bit there. Sliding your other leg back, opening the hips. And I'm using both glutes, right? Both butts to open those hips. Just like when we were on all fours and trying to get our hips to open all the way or be steady, you have to push both legs into it. And I think my brick is too far away this time. Come back down and explain why I think that. We'll do one more time each side, yes? So choose where you want to do it. If you want to come back down to your knee to this last time, feeling really too tired, if you want to try the chair instead of the brick, choose another option or the same one. Now the reason why I felt like I was too far is because I don't want to have this shape like a tetrahedron. You know, like not a square but the sides are wide. I don't want that shape. I would like the hip socket and the shoulder socket to both be right arms here. So I'm going to go ahead and come down into it, which is definitely, I think, a lot more challenging. I'm going to use my Warrior 3. Right, so I have square to the floor. I'm going to put this brick down, and this is definitely one brick width wider than my foot. I'm going to roll my shoulders down, unfurl those hips, using my standing leg hip to really open those hips, unfurl my shoulder by rolling my shoulders back, and lift my arm. And this time I'm spotting the floor just in front of my brick. You could also spot out. You see I have like a nice square underneath my arm. Go ahead and come down, take a rest. We'll try the other side. And then we'll do our arm balance, yes? Okay. Engaging that core. Bringing my weight up and over my supporting, strong left leg. I'm going to find Warrior 3 first. I'm going to take my arm down. Brick is just slightly outside of where my knee is pointing. I'm going to lift my core in, wrap open those hips using my standing leg, keeping this knee pointing forward. Yeah, so I have to externally rotate that leg to point the knee forward. I'm going to zip open my shoulders and radiate and push into the floor. Support through your hand and foot. Drishti to the floor. Oh, I see my rib cage could revolve a little more. See my leg could go up. See, I could radiate over. Finding that breath. And coming home. Wow! All right. Go ahead and take your right knee forward on the mat, and we're going to come down into a pigeon with your hip on the ground, and I'm going to rotate into that thigh. Hopefully I'm going to get some of those hip muscles that we're just working so hard to stabilize me in that leg. Then I'm going to go ahead and revolve my whole body towards that knee. gonna be forward. Bust up galore. Yes, bust up galore here. I'm going to take my right knee, forward knee, right hand, and I'm going to take my right hand just behind the knee. Just behind the heel. Yeah, so you can see my thumb is on the inside, my fingers are on the outside. I'll point myself with my first. Yeah. Okay. Then I'm going to bend my elbow, boop, and bring my body forward so that when my elbow is bent, the back of my elbow is going to touch the back of my thigh just behind the knee here. Yeah, that's it. That's a lot. So I really have to tuck my torso down and find the place where my knee is over my elbow. And then if I feel like maybe I got there, I'm going to turn to this side. I think you can see better there. Yeah. But I got there, but it's not touching. What I'm going to do is scooch my back thigh away to lower my hips onto that contact point. Yeah. And if you can get contact, then you can straighten your back leg. All right, let's let it down. Pull back. We're going to switch legs. So I'm going to now twist open the opposite hip. So low pigeon, hip forward, twisting my body into that thigh. Really walking my body into it. Coming back up. Yeah? All right. So before you move on, and your back leg can be as bent as it needs to be for you to be here, go ahead and take your hand to feel that spot that's on the back of your thigh. You know, there's sort of a hollow behind your knee up here. So we're a little bit higher than that in your thigh right there. And then go ahead and feel the same arm above the elbow and see if you can touch those two places together. Yeah, without any weight on it. And feel how you can use your back muscles to pull into that spot. Remember, the pointer finger is always going to be pointing up. Elbows are always going to be pointing back. Can't even think of an example where that's not true, but I'm sure now that I said it out loud, you can think of one. Okay, here we go. I'm going to turn to this side so you can see a little better. So I'm in a lunge. I'm going to take my same hand as that forward foot, and I'm going to slide it. As though I'm going to cup my heel. I'm going to slide it back a little bit, a few inches. If you're feeling really tight in that hamstring, it's okay to slowly drift your way down in there, yeah? But what I really want to do is drop my chest and my rib cage inside, bend that elbow, and then move my back thigh away to get my hip down. Be aware of your other shoulder. Sometimes it likes to roll up and get all scrunched up. So both shoulders down, both elbows in. All right, come on out. Okay. That is already bus stop B if you've got contact there. When we first start learning that, and go ahead and stretch your wrist while I talk here. When we first start learning that, the elbows are often straight, so people feel like there's nowhere to rest. So make sure your elbow is bent. And I am definitely adducting with these thighs, right? Okay, so go ahead and take your feet forward. And place your elbows on the inside. Yeah? Try to lift your waist in between those legs. And if it feels tight back here already, make sure that your knees are super bent and pointing up. If they're straight and you're trying to get through and you're stuck, or if they're rolled in and you're trying to get through, those are both more obstacles than they seem like. Booty back, walking your ribs between your thighs, and then I'm gonna hook my elbows underneath, and then almost like I'm rowing a boat. throwing, can you tell? But I'm gonna think about like scooping, if I was like scooping into myself. I'm gonna scoop down, curved back, and place my hands on the floor there. And I really want you to feel this activation of your back to pull your elbows into those legs. Okay. Lovely. All right, come up part way. Use that same activation, but give yourself a flexibility break. And hold on with your hands instead of your elbows and see if you can extend a leg. Woo, it's a lot. And switch and extend a leg. All right, now those legs are super far away from our bodies. For the thing that we're eventually getting to, we want to be holding our legs forward and back. So I'm going to go ahead and extend my leg, and then I want you to use that inner thigh and bring it forward. And still be pulling back with your arm and leg here. Switch the other side. Extend it, pull it up. It doesn't have to be all the way straight, but I want you to pull that inner thigh inside. Okay, can we put those two things together? Maybe, maybe not. Yes, I'm trying to push back with my elbows. Extend the leg, squeeze it in. Woo! Okay. Shake that out for a second. So many pieces to this. Take those hands up. Pointer fingers are still up. Elbows are in. And now, just like the beginning of class, I'd like you to bend your torso all the way over so you can feel your point of your elbow touch your hip bone. And that might be a really intense squeeze on this side to get it all the way down there. So squeeze and wrap it in. Makes my obliques go bing! And then press your hand down. That same rowing, scooping feeling with that. Into that hip. Good, try the other side. In, shoot it back. All right. There's like 5 more bus stops. I don't know if we're gonna get them all, but we're gonna try and then we're gonna flop. Ready? Here we go. Right side front. Right hand underneath. I have at least a hand width between my heel and where I'm placing my hand. I'm gonna bring my chest down. I'm gonna bend that elbow. I'm gonna switch how you see. Okay, still with the right side front. Can I scooch my back leg back while bending this other elbow to this hip? What, Amber, what? Try it. Yes? Okay. I did not talk you through that. So, before we do the other side, there are 4 more bus stops that I'm not expecting anybody to get to today. I would be so impressed with you if you can get your elbow on the inside of your thigh and your other elbow to your hip, still having your back knee on the floor. That is huge. Consider that a bus stop beat. It's awesome, yes? What I am doing to move on from there though is 2 things. One, I'm straightening my back leg, and you can do either one first, you can straighten your front leg. But when we straighten the front leg, remember we have to adduct it in, just like we practice sitting on our butt. So this time I'll do it and I'll talk myself through that. I'm gonna do left leg. Since we know what the front arm looks like, I'm gonna face this way. Okay, so left knee forward, left elbow underneath, about a hand width back. Yeah. Got that contact. I'm gonna squeeze my hip down. Ooh, it's so much harder on this side. And I'm gonna put my right elbow in my right hip. Now from here, I can straighten my back leg. That's the next bus stop. It is huge. Little muscle cramp there. Okay. Straighten your back leg. Ah, it's amazing. Put that back leg down. Straighten your front leg. You gotta sneak those toes out. And then you gotta hug yourself. Oh gosh. Whew. Yeah? I don't know if I can do this side, guys. But I'm gonna try one more time. First I'm gonna stretch my ab out, because remember I said your abs work so hard to bring that elbow in? That's how hard it is. My little ab was like, got stuck. Okay. Remember, respect your body. My body is telling me that my muscle is fatigued, and that means I need to slow down and listen to it because I might not hold myself up as well. If I were feeling a strain in a joint, then I would definitely stop before that joint pain comes in. Since that's a muscle fatigue, I'm gonna give it one more and then be done. All right. Front leg straighten, back leg straighten, and adduct to try and square my hips. Come to your child's pose and flip those wrists over. Oh, good job, everybody. I'm gonna roll up. I'm gonna give you victorious pose, brick optional. So if you want to brick it up here, pull those thighs together. We're going to tuck our hips back for victorious pose. Right, camel, the hips are above the knees. Victorious, we're back here. Yeah, we're opening up those thighs. Squeeze into that center line, friends. Find your core. Legs forward one more time. Soft knees, bringing all the toes back evenly towards your face. Big breath. Bend your knees as much as your body needs to. I would much rather you have bent knees than have straight knees and a curved torso, yeah? Because that's stretching your back. Bend your knees. You get your tailbone to scooch out behind you. Drop that head. One more last time in victorious pose. Legs together, pelvis back. Squeezing those thighs, opening the quads. Now, one way that you can do victorious pose, which is not for everybody, this is a bus stop E, it's also like a weird healthy knee thing, is if you have really flexible ankles, you can engage your core, squeeze together, and rock until your knees come off the ground. And bring your hands to namaste. Feel your core nice and tight, thighs are opening, and you're just like, thank goodness I won this battle! Hence the name victorious pose. Go ahead and take those arms back. Stretch those quads one more time. Relax your neck into your lifted shoulders this time. Keeping those legs aligned, so I'm definitely still really using my inner thighs, even though everything else I'm trying to just release.
Gently up, chin to chest, whenever you do an arch like that.
And we're going to settle ourselves down into your Shavasana. Go ahead and find a cozy place on the floor. And we will relax. Oh, look at that. My playlist knew what was next.
Now if you lay down and your body just feels still really tight or lopsided, it's okay at any time in any yoga class to start with your feet on the floor and a little bit wider than your hips, and start relaxing those hip flexors with a soft windshield wiper motion. And a big deep breath. And I like to tuck my shoulder blades underneath. And remember, we did that chin stretch earlier today where we pressed the jaw back towards the hyaloid bone, the esophagus, the throat, yeah. So I'd like you to here allow that jawbone to fall back. And if it feels like it doesn't want to do that, you can sort of move it like you're chewing, or move it side to side. The idea being that you're moving less and less each time and sort of letting it shift down into gravity. And I totally would expect you to have at least one extra chin in that fully relaxed position. So if you don't feel like your skin is bunching up a little bit, then maybe your neck is still arched. Maybe you're still holding some tension in that neck. So let's all lengthen the back of our head away from our shoulders. And maybe let your nose rock side to side. So everything, knees and thighs, jaw. And let's imagine the rhythm of that in and out, side to side feeling. It's sort of like a really calm lake lapping at the shore. Exhale takes you to one side. And inhale to the middle and exhale to the first side. And let that gentle flow, let it become smaller and smaller. This is the same way that we build balance in our standing poses. Balance isn't about gripping, it's about the flow settling into a tiny motion. Letting ourselves be open to being moved by external sources, because we really can never control everything else that's going on. And so we learn in yoga to practice adjusting, to practice letting go of that fear-based, clingy feeling, and instead to give ourselves the gift of softness, like water on a shore, softly rolling in and out until it becomes still and calm. yourself gently come back to your body, taking as much time as you need. When your body's ready, go ahead and roll to your side. Come on up. Thanks for coming on the adventure today.